All right, guys, let's go in for round two. Sorry about that. Okay, so I'm going to give people a few minutes just to get in here. Very special guest tonight. Some of y'all know it because of Twitter. We will get him introduced here in just a second. I'm going to be liking, sharing this out, and giving folks time to get in. So, if you show up and watch this afterwards, I know I have a few people that do that. Please, please, please just fast forward until you start hearing my voice. So give me just a moment and I will be right back. All right, everybody. This is the point and the only time that I would love that if PlayStation did something more with their live streaming, because it would have been super awesome to have some music playing over that or something like that. But you know what? I'm not that cool yet. So let's talk about somebody who is that cool. Somebody who's been doing this for a long time. Somebody whose channel has over 30,000 subs. He is a pillar of the gaming community, and that is my dude, the Salt King himself, Saltiest Gaming. Welcome back, brother. How are you?
Hello, hey, who is this? This is Salty. No, it's been a long journey.
It's Candy
Mm,
Cane.
it's candy get yeah, it's been a long time. Been a long
Mm,
time. I'm hearing a little bit of echo. I'm not sure what that is. Maybe it's coming from your headset. Can you guys hear
Uh,
that? It's like my own voice. I can hear that. You know what I'm saying?
I don't know. My wife will let me know if she can hear anything.
Okay, so it's good to be back. It's just a little bit. I hear my own voice, so it's like I'm talking to myself. Um, how high up is the volume in your earphones?
There you go. I mean, I killed it. Do you hear an echo?
Hello, hello,
Hello?
hello, hello. It's better. It's
Hello?
better. It's better. It's better. Yeah, I think it was just the volume echoing back in, so it's like talking to myself, and it's like impossible to do that. I don't know if you've tried that. Like when you make videos, you can make it so where you can hear yourself record, and I can never do that. I do not like that. But it's good to be back, man. I've been on my long sabbatical. Getting bitches and making money, and that's pretty much what I've been up to, So we're back. We got some news going
What kind of
on, and
dog you
it's
get?
good. Oh, I got a puppy, but that's not who I'm talking about. But yeah, it's good. It's good to be back, man. Great intro, man, for real. Been at this since 2017. A lot of people don't know that it's been that long. So like when you're making content just every week for years, it was time for a good old break, but we're back It's good to be here, man.
Now, how back are you? Because I'm gonna have folks who watch this afterwards, or they're gonna
For
DM me
sure,
and
for
go,
sure.
dude, does this mean he's back? Does this mean we got something for Thursday nights now too? So we can have Jez on Monday, Porter Rock on Tuesday, uh,
Hmm.
Thrifty on Wednesday, Salty on Thursday. Like, do we have it back? Are we back?
We're gonna be back tomorrow, and yeah, we're back for sure. So
Ah, there it
it's good.
is. So I was talking to you kind of in the pregame. And my guy, you have picked one hell of a time to come back. It went from nice, calmy weather to the most stormiest of seas in like a day. It was
Exactly.
like the
Yeah. What?
bottom fell out yesterday and then the monsoon came today. So it's holy
It's
crap.
just yeah. For a while there was nothing but like Activision crap, for forever. So I was like getting over that, and all of a sudden, we got some new shit to talk about. There's so much to like dive into, like just all the stuff that I've been hearing online is insane, man. Like the stuff that people are admitting. Yeah, I don't know if I should bring up names and stuff, but like the review process is just in doubt. Like I know it's been in doubt, but like from what I've heard from people in the industry, it's just like, and then what we're seeing, it's one of the topics, but kind of, it's just I just don't think it's viable anymore. I don't think this review shit is viable at all. Like, but we'll talk about that for sure. And then everything else going on is crazy. People think that I shill for PlayStation or this or that. I'm a
You're a
PlayStation
pony, my guy.
fanboy.
You're a pony.
Yeah, I don't even know what that means. Like, what is a pony? I know that
All
next
all
gen
I
came
know
up
is
with
they're
that
really,
term.
really hung, and that's all that really matters.
Well, pff, yeah,
So,
that's
like,
that's that's how they got us, right?
that's
But
how they
I
got us.
heard next gen, I think, coined the term. I still don't know what it means. I don't know what that means, but yeah, we're ponies. But I gotta lay into PlayStation because I might do a video on this because I think it needs a video. But we're gonna be talking about it tomorrow for sure. It's just there's the
Y-
cocky PlayStation, and they went through their thing and they ate their crow and they learned some lessons, but it's got me questioning some things the way that they've been doing stuff for a while. So we're gonna get into that as well. But yeah, definitely.
Well, so I mean, like, what have we been saying though for the past, God, I don't know, since ABK was even announced? If it breeds competition, great. But the sad part is that it won't, and we need them to take that money and send it into their studios that are currently working, hire more people, and breed real competition. As a PlayStation fan, I need that because Sony does what Sony does, and we'll just jump into this one. Sony does what Sony does, and they get lazy. They they have the market freaking cornered tonight, right? Like they really, really do. At this point, Switch 2 won't take them down. Switch is going to stay in its lane. It's going to do its thing. I
Mhm.
don't see it taking them down, but I see every household having one. The
The pro- the
Go
problem
ahead.
the problem with the Switch is it's not even in the same sector really. It's weird because they're video games, but in reality, Nintendo does its own thing. It's like they have their own metrics. The way shit works on that platform isn't the same that it works on PlayStation or Xbox. How they generate revenues through like software and majority it's first party. It's just Nintendo does their own thing, and I don't give a fuck what they're doing. Really, like you shouldn't either because they just walk their own line. Really, so it really is a two-horse race, but it's not, because PlayStation sees no competition, and when that happens, it's like, well, there's nobody to stop us in essence, or nobody to push us to do better. So why do this or that? And I'm seeing that exactly into this, and we're gonna get more into it. Like I said, I might do a video on this, but when I was thinking about it, the no competition thing, because Xbox is basically gutted any kind of credibility that they have in the court proceedings basically saying that they're shit, they can't do things right, they're third place, blah blah blah. It's not something that generates any kind of confidence in that brand. So Sony sees that, they see the way that this generation has gone, and then they're like, we don't have anybody to answer to because we're dog walking Xbox in sales right now, and that's not going to change. So let's start pushing things. And it's just, I think the best comparison right now, who they think that they are, is Apple, and that's a bad thing. Okay, shout out to all the Apple stand out there, but
Nah, bro, I've
uh,
I've had an Apple product since the iPhone 3GS. I get it. Apple f's me over every 2 years
so
because I
that you
let
would
them.
yeah, you would agree that you bend over and take it from Apple. You know, they raise their prices, they have proprietary shit. They know
Yes,
that
I
their
still take it on my terms though. Don't get it
oh,
twisted. I don't
for
buy a new
sure,
phone every year. I also don't buy a new watch, or I don't have
for
the
sure.
watch even. I don't have the only tablet I have is from my work and it's an iPad, but
Hmm.
it's I do it on my own terms, which is how I'm going to handle PlayStation because
But
PlayStation's coming in here with okay, go ahead. Go ahead.
but real quick, I so you're part of a consumer base, but I would say in general, like a majority of Apple users buy everything. They don't care what the price is. I would say a majority of that. I just see it on my timeline. They upgrade frequently. Prices are ridiculous. They defend predatory practices when it comes to like stuff like the charging port being proprietary, all this other bullshit that Apple tries to do, right? So that's the problem here because I think Sony sees itself as the Apple of gaming, you know? So if anybody repeats this online, you know that I said it first, all right? So they see themselves as the Apple of gaming, right? And they're going to do what they want to do because they don't have competition and they feel like their consumer base is just going to eat it up. Okay, so that's when they start doing some weird shit, and that's what I'm seeing is because the lack of competition and then the consumer base that will buy your product and shown that they will buy your product, it leads to stuff like this. You know, there are blowbacks because people were saying, "Oh, the $10 upgrade thing was changed," and that's true, but what about everything else? What about all these other things that people just are like, well, because I've seen some people say it. It's like, well, inflation's causing everything to go up, so it's part and parcel. I'm just going to do it. It's like, I don't know about that. That mindset. It's like, yes, everything is going up, but it's like you're just going to blindly be like, well, PlayStation's doing it, so I'm just going to accept it. You know, that's the flawed mentality, I think, because if that is the case and people see this and see these price increases and everything else and they just accept it and they say that's just the way it is, then there's not going to be any change because the reason why they changed the $10 upgrade thing is because people did uh, just they said we're not doing this shit. You know, this is not acceptable. There's a big uproar on social media, and that pushed the company to change it. It's like Xbox, you know? Why has Xbox been shitty for so long? It's because their consumer base doesn't ask for more, right? They accept bullshit. It's like shit is shoveled into your mouth and you say, "Thank you, please can I have some more?" That's just the way it's going to be. They're going to keep shoveling shit in your mouth. So yeah, I'm not happy with a lot of the things that have been taking place with Sony. You can list them off, you know. Pio gets a lot of shit online, but he brought up a lot of good points about what Sony has done and it focused on. Like they have the games. No one's going to say they don't have the games, but their focus is on games as a service. There's no questioning that. They've said it in their reports multiple times. That's a focus. Seems like they're focusing more on television and movie properties of their current stuff than they are communication with their consumer base. And then you list off all these other things that they're putting out. Now, I got to get your take on the portable situation. Do you think that the device is good and it's priced right?
So
Components and it's overpriced.
let me
Yeah.
unpack a little bit of what you already said because I think you brought up a great point, but I'm going to disagree with you here
Hmm.
because Xbox has been shit for so long because you're absolutely right. Their consumer base won't speak up. They just keep bending over. The
Yeah.
wonderful thing about being a PlayStation gamer is that when
Hmm.
PlayStation f's up, there's about 100 of us that I see just on my Twitter feed or
Hmm.
just on YouTube that are gonna blast them and call them out on it. And I almost suspect that we within a few days we're gonna get a guys, we're so sorry. That we're not gonna do that. Blah 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 blah. Whatever. Like I really think we're gonna have that Xbox. We're sorry guys. We're just trying to see what would work. Blah blah blah. Well, motherfuckers, this ain't it. Like you're not gonna sit there. I already get a look from my wife yearly when that
Hmm.
$120 payment comes out for PlayStation Plus Premium. And so
Hmm.
now you want me to try to justify more money? Like, you know, you can take how much money you would have to spend. 180, I think, is what it's, or 150? Is it 150?
It's
At the
159.
160. Okay.
So
So,
160.
right. So with that, I could literally up my new game purchases a year by
Exactly.
3. And so
Yep.
now I already budget for 3 a year. I could go up to 6 a year or 5 in an indie because
Hmm.
Lord Jesus, we're getting some hellaciously good old school indie titles lately. And
Hmm.
so I'd have money left over to support those devs. But the fun thing is that as a PlayStation guy and as a gamer who plays on the PlayStation, I
Hmm.
don't have any. I have allegiance to them because my network is here a bit. Not allegiance like, the flag in America and all that bullcrap, but like
For sure. For sure.
I'm
Yeah.
I'm tied into this as much as I'm going to be. But it's also a
Hmm.
choice if I buy anything else or if I sub or if I do anything with them going
Hmm.
forward. And I can sit and go, you know what? I can still play the PlayStation, but it's going to be on my terms. I'm not going to do y'all's bullshit. I'm not buying y'all's headset. I'm not buying y'all's overpriced earbuds. I
Hmm.
am buying the Portal because I think that's a fucking genius idea.
So tell me why is that's genius, right? It doesn't have Bluetooth, right?
Okay,
What's the
so
thought process with that?
I'm actually working on a video for the Portal right now. I'm trying to, but there's
Hmm.
so much misinformation out there that it's hard to filter through all the good stuff.
For
And
sure.
so, Connor, hey, welcome. New guy in chat. What's up, man? Appreciate you being here.
What up, Connor? Hit the sub button.
Yeah, come on, man. Um, but Portal. Oh yeah. Okay. So there's so many things that have been said, so many things that have been reiterated, so many things that have been talked about, and not
Hmm.
all of it's true.
The
Yes,
Bluetooth not being there is true.
it's, but it does have
No,
a
hey, hold up.
form.
Are you a politician? You a politician?
No,
That
no, no,
that
no.
side. Okay, does it have Bluetooth or not? That's
Yes,
it.
for
Okay, it
proprietary
does.
PlayStation products. Yes.
So who does that sound like?
Oh, no, no, no. No, no, no. That's not what we were talking about. We were talking about does it have Bluetooth?
Oh my God.
Yes, it does.
St-
Now,
okay,
is
so
it
why would it
sleazy?
be?
Is it shitty?
Yes.
Is it
Fuck
wrong?
yeah.
Is it messed
Yes,
up? Absolutely. Both of those statements can be true.
for sure.
So that's one of the things. People just hummering off that it doesn't have Bluetooth. It does. It just only
No.
with PlayStation Link devices. So it's a little shitty. Actually, it's a lot shitty. And
So
then they
why are
give
they?
you,
You know why they're doing that, right? They're forcing you to buy their products.
oh,
Period.
absolutely.
Hmm.
Absolutely. I'm not, trust me, I did not start this Apple game years
Yeah,
ago for
yeah.
nothing. It all prepared me for this moment. Like, but
Yeah.
they're also not locking it down as much as Apple does. Here's the reason why I say that. They're still giving you the option to plug in any freaking headset you want through a 3.5 millimeter jack on a device that's going to be sitting in your hands next to your body anyway.
Yeah.
Does that make sense? Like I'm not using this with it 8 feet across the room and the
Hmm.
controller in my hand. I'm using it right next to me. So the only extra thing it adds is that if I want to set down my system and get a drink, I have to remove a headset. Like it's crappy the way they're doing it, but it's not the end of the world. I also think that 1080p on an 8-inch screen is going to be plenty good enough for resolution. It's going to look
Hmm.
great. And I think also the 60 frames per second
Yeah.
on a dedicated streaming, or I'm sorry, dedicated remote play device. I have to say this right. Dedicated remote play device is a wonderful, wonderful achievement because we have games that come out on another system that is supposed to eat monsters for breakfast that don't hit 60 frames per second on their actual damn console. I am taking what's on my console and shipping it via the internet to a handheld device, and it's going to run at 60. Like, that's impressive no matter how you slice it. And in one hand, PlayStation did a wonderful thing by making it $199. That was my price point for it. And they actually listened to me and the thousand of other people who've been screaming 199 is okay. Anything else is
I
not okay.
I think that that was pretty is a little bit higher than it should have been. I think 149 would have been good, but that's kind of like nitpicking at that point, so
Right.
it's
Now,
fine.
they slipped on a banana peel with me when I heard about the headset getting increased by $50. I was like, that's pretty stupid. Your other one's 3 years old, new one's coming out. The other one should drop in price to 89 and this one should be 129. Whatever,
Hmm.
not going to nitpick there. And then they fell in a gosh darn hole with the stupid pricing of the earbuds. Those little bastards should be $79. And somebody on Twitter was like, "But they have a case and they have a
Yeah,
dedicated charger." I'm like, "You mean the same
that's
thing that every
standard
pair
shit,
of wireless
bitch.
earbuds has?"
Yeah.
What are you freaking talking about? Like, that's stupid. All you're doing is trying to make an excuse for a company overinflating the price on a product because they know their people will buy it because 50% of the fan base is stupid as shit.
Hmm.
Like,
Yeah.
that doesn't make any freaking sense. And then, in the moment where they could have ramped up marketing for Spider Man and taken. These two companies are dumb as shit when it comes to taking advantage of the other screw ups. Like, I really believe that. Xbox doesn't do a good job of it, never has, and Sony doesn't do a good job of it. And instead of doing that, you release a blog post today that the service that is already double the subscriber count of Game Pass, that you're going to increase it. Why? They didn't give a reason. It's just increasing. We're not getting any more games. We're not guaranteed any more anything. It's just increasing. It's not because they're taking more day and date titles. No, no, that okay, cool. That might make sense. We're gonna get more indies day and date. We promise, one $40 title a month, day and date. Cool. Awesome. That sounds okay. Still expensive. Oh, and by the way, you can now download your PS3 games because we got those working. And so now they're downloading, and it's great. Geo, tell me in the chat what the reason is besides them being greedy little bastards and knowing that people will pay for it. Like, I am freaking livid about this. And I told y'all in the chat earlier, Salty, the chat on Twitter, I told you this earlier.
Hmm.
This isn't fake outrage. Like, I play games through this subservice to get me through to the next big purchase, right? So I finished Final Fantasy XVI, went into Lost Judgment, which is on the service, and now I've gone into Sea of Stars. Like, I play games that are on this service, so I actually use it. I use the trials. I really like the trials. I think hiding the trials behind a paywall is actually a really good idea from a business standpoint. Sony says the price hikes will go into effect globally and will allow the company to continue bringing high quality games and value, blah, 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 bullshit. Okay, cool.
Yeah,
So
sure.
that doesn't
Yep.
tell me anything but marketing speak. That is the same. This is why my thumbnail for this video tonight is Bethesda on one side and PlayStation Plus on the middle, or PlayStation Plus on the other, and a trash
Hmm.
can right in the middle. Because I don't know which one's worse. Hey, you can explore all these planets. You can explore everywhere. Hey, how long will it take to explore these planets? However long you want. Horseshit. You're not exploring the planets, you're exploring individual tiles. It's bullcrap. Oh, and I'm not going to get into that. We're going to save that for later. I'm still whooping
So
PlayStation's ass right now. So, Anyway, you asked me why I like the Portal. I like the Portal because it gives me a second screen that's dedicated. I still have access to my phone. I can't tell you how many times, because of the type of games that I play, I've used a Razer. I actually have a Razer that connects to my phone. It's a little strap on. And
Pause.
hey, that was for Jez. I hope he shows up in chat tonight. Um, but the Razer connects into your phone, and you can use it as a controller. And it doesn't have the stick down low on the left side like I like, but that's
Mhm.
okay. And I have to look up guides. Well, you back out, look up, hey, where is this last treasure chest in Sea of Stars that I can't fucking find in this area? Where is it? And they then I load back in, and it has to reconnect, reload, redo its thing, and then I'm back in. But it breaks me out of what I'm doing when, if I have a dedicated device, my kids are watching something, my wife's out here wanting to watch the TV, a new season of her show drops. I play this, I have full access to my phone. I can make tweets about it. I can connect with an audience. I can do whatever the hell I need to do with my phone that has more functions than a gaming device, because I have this gaming device that has full Rumble, full everything. I
Mhm.
am absolutely stoked about this. And the fact that I think, and I said this the day it happened because I had a show that day, y'all can mark my words on it, the PS5 Pro will release within the first 12 months a PS Portal 2 that has cloud streaming, that has all this shit.
And why not have that all on this one, man? Shit.
Uh, I have some theories about that actually. Like, they're testing the waters for one, they're basically doing what Apple does. They're using us as their guinea pigs on this one to see how well
Yeah,
it's going to
yeah.
work, how well it's going to be received, and then after that they release the better one a couple years later. Like, it's
So what? So you've tried the little phone thing, the put the strap-ons on there and all that other shit. You don't like that, right?
oh
That's
no,
not
I
an
love it.
option
I
for you.
played most of Chained Echoes using that actually. I love it.
Because
I just
people
want
are
my
just
phone.
saying, well, what's because I know you get the dual sense back or whatever, and that it is what it is on that. I'm gonna probably get the device, but I'll probably wait. Like I'm not gonna get this immediately, because there are benefits. I'm a single dad, and my kids are on the TV. If I want to show here, I can play whatever I want, and it's PlayStation games or whatever. It's not like the Switch where it's a severe downgrade, right? If I'm trying to play Fortnite at 30 frames per second or below that, and then like 360p with these fucking chocolate chip sticks. They're like so small. Pause. It's just like they're small, and it's like you can't play on that shit. But I digress. So like I'm gonna actually have a good experience. Yeah, it's good from that sense.
Right, and
So I
that's
don't
my
really.
thing.
I don't really have a problem with the portal thing. I don't care. Like that's not. I think it was priced a little bit high, but it is what it is. Like I don't think that that's the deal breaker. I think there's other stuff. Like I said, the list that I was listing off. Like this price hike. It opens up a whole nother can of worms about subscription services in general. I was talking about this in our chat. It's subscription services were made in response to cable services getting ridiculously high, right? People well, let's get to sub to Netflix and all these other services because we want to get a cheaper option than cable. But guess what happened? So many sub services came out. A sub service for this, Paramount Plus, Netflix, Max, a billion sub services come out, and guess what? They keep raising their prices. They start low, just like Disney, just like any of these other services, and then they increase. They increase prices. They increase prices. It's never been like I saw today, where it's a 33% increase in a price. That shit is bonkers. That'd be like Disney Plus saying, "Oh, we're going from nine." I'm not a math person. We're going from 9 to 20. You know what I'm saying? Let's see how that rolls out or whatever. It's like a ridiculous increase in price, and that's the thing that like kind of gets me to pause there because there's all kinds of uh, theories as to why they're doing this, but to not add anything to your service and then to gouge your customers like that at a rate of 33% for your top tier is insane. It's insanity. It's like, who the fuck is gonna do this? Everybody I've heard said they're out. You know, I'm sub to PlayStation whatever, and then after that's out, I'm done. And I think they're serious. I think a lot of them are serious because, to be honest with you, there's a subservice for anything and everything. There's a subservice at my gas station for fucking those pops, the 44 ouncers. They have a subservice for that, for coffee, for fucking whatever. You can get a subservice, and it's like, how much are people going to be paying in subservice? If you have Game Pass and you have PS Plus Premium, how much is that a year? That's just video game services plus whatever you want to buy, and then everything you're sub to for like Disney Plus and Max and stuff. It's too much. The consumer bases are not going to be able to pay for all this stuff, period. And it's just going to keep going up. The one thing that PlayStation did right was they didn't put their shit in there day one, their first party titles. So they're not locked into one thing. On Xbox, it's one way or the highway. Their first party day and date is fucked. This situation is what's going to happen on Xbox Game Pass, but they don't really have a choice to do other stuff, right? Xbox Game Pass is connected to Xbox, and it's their identity for the most part. All their fans are like Xbox. You know, it's all together. It's like if Xbox Game Pass succeeds, then Xbox does. And it's like with this situation, I could say fuck this service, and I still support PlayStation by buying their games. You know, I'm not out on their product. But if Xbox Game Pass, how they're devaluing the actual game and the game sales, it's going to get to a point where they say, well, it's only on a subservice, so purchase our subscription because they're cutting dollar deals and shit. It's in preparation of that, like their lack of digital availability of their games or whatever, the no availability for physical discs. It will get to a point where they say you either sub to our service or fuck off. You know what I'm saying? We're not going to have deals for you to come in here at $1. You're going to come sub at our full price, or you're going to get the fuck out of here. And that's the way it is because that's what they're doing with their big game release. You see it. They're like, dollar deal? Nah, fuck you. You're not doing that. Or PlayStation putting out the precursor of saying, oh, you're going to stack your fucking cheap PlayStation Plus? Nah, you're not doing that. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
So
it's going to be one of
that,
those things where, like, you talk about stacking. So the people who stacked they're going to get a message like I got when I upgraded, like, hey, you have this much money left relative to how many months you had left on your subscription. We're going to put that towards your upgrade, and that'll give you it until November of this year. And like,
mhm.
wait, so not only are you about to make me pay more, but if I take the remainder of what I already purchased, because that's what they did with me with PlayStation Plus Extra and Premium. Like, I think
Mhm.
I upgraded my yearly. I had like $40 left on it because it just had renewed, and I paid the extra like 45 or whatever it was on that intro offer to get Premium. And like, if I wouldn't have done that, it just would have rolled down into Essential, uh, and it just would have stayed the same. But they like gave you this option. I wonder if we'll have the option on this next time, or if they're going to say, "Hey, listen, it's switching over on this date. Whatever you have on this day, it's going to price jump, and you'll have to kind of adjust accordingly." Like this is the most anti-consumer thing I have seen Sony do since the $650 PS3. I'd have to say that. Like, since the $650 PS3, this is the most anti-consumer thing I've seen them do.
Yeah, it's it's a problem, man. I'm not going to say it's not. I think that these subscription services, we're having some issues in the entertainment sector with people, the writer's strike, and then you're talking about actors strike and this and that or whatever, and then like the collapsing or the failure of subscription services, because a lot of them are just running negative, very negative. Paramount, all these other ones, And if you look into it, I think it was Sean Layden that put a quote out there because he's pretty anti-subservice. He said that Spotify is yet to turn a profit on their subservices. Netflix doesn't turn a profit. They're in the red significantly, and they're looked to as like the gold standard of what everybody wants to go to. It's like if that's your standard, then what are we doing? But it's like we're modeling the gaming industry after a failing entertainment industry. So what the fuck is that going to lead to? Because game design and like cost of games is like skyrocketing. So it's like something's got to give. It's like either the quality of the games or the amount of games, or it's consolidations involved in all that people don't realize this shit's happening already. So there's gonna be a problem, dude. There's gonna be an issue coming down the line where they're gonna start doubling back to what they thought was gonna be a good idea. Like Netflix had to implement all this dumb shit, like you can have an ad version of Netflix. Well, that defeats the whole fucking purpose of Netflix, bitch. If I wanted to watch an ad, I'll go watch a TV show. That's the problem. It's like, that's the fucking problem, dude. So then it's like, well, we're returning back to what we started. And this, it's like, well, what's the point? What is it? You know what I'm saying? Like, it's like the dog returned into his fucking vomit, dude. Like, what are we doing?
Uh, so hang on. Josh just said, "Hold the phone. Let's not conflate that. PS Plus is Sony's bread and butter. It's not. No, and that's
What
the
when
other
it,
thing
okay,
is
so go
Sony
ahead, go
makes a
ahead.
killing on bread and butter. Good God, Sony
Hey,
makes a
bread and butter's
killing.
good, man.
Hey, bread and butter is good.
Hey, you
Sony
put some
makes a
cinnamon and sugar on that? Sorry, I mean, I didn't.
tell me you were raised poor without telling me you were raised poor.
Oh yeah,
Bread
I
and butter's
was.
good. That's
Toast, hey, white bread toasted with cinnamon sugar. That's fucking
heck yeah,
breakfast
dude.
right
That was my
there, right?
breakfast most mornings, like when I was in elementary school. That was what
You
I
know how
ate.
cheap that is. You know how cheap that is.
I do know how cheap that is.
You
Um,
have kids now. You gotta buy food and shit. Fuck.
enjoy Sony bread and butter, right? So here's the thing: Sony could take a hit on this. Say a conservative number, 20%, drop down and go to essential. And I think the number, actually not conservative. I think that's a big number. I don't think enough people are going to be as outraged about this at the basis consumer level, mom and pop Joe that aren't, in the words of Reforged, terminally attached to the internet. Like,
Hmm.
they know nothing. They just know, oh, okay, the price is going up. Well, Netflix just went up, Disney just went up, Paramount just went up. Like, oh, okay, cool. They're just following in line. Everybody's going up. Must be the economy, and they just move on with life. It's
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
the rest of us who look at this because we're so plugged in and connected that we look at this and go, yeah, you know what? Sony, you don't need my money in this. I still love your games, still going to buy your games, but I'm not going to give you the extra $120 a year or $160 a year anymore. I'm just going to go back down to my little essential tier and we're just going to call it a good day. You know, like, and we have that option. The Xbox generation and Xbox players, most of them don't have that option. And I say most because I'm using the metric of the Series S outsells the Series X. And
Hmm.
so most of them are hardlined digital, which means unless you want to purchase your games at full pop digitally,
Hmm.
you got to get them through a subservice. And the whole ad thing and subservices, man, that like I went to my our utility place. They handle everything here. Internet, cable, water, electric, home phone. They handle it all. They just don't handle
Hmm.
gas. And I went in there and picked up a little pamphlet from there about their uh, uh, their cable service and what they
Subservice.
all yeah their cable.
Yeah,
Because I'm like, well, hell,
yeah.
if I'm just gonna have to pay X amount of dollars for Netflix and Hulu and Disney and uh,
Hmm.
Paramount and HBO, which is now called Max, and still the same lazy content. Like, I might as well just get all these other channels and DVR everything like I used to. And it's gonna get to that point in gaming where I'm just like, you know what? It's nice to have access to 700 titles, but dear God, I can't play the ones I already own. So I'm gonna go ahead and just call it quits. And if
Yeah.
enough people do that on the Sony side, Sony will end up. I think Sony will end up course correcting on this. I think they did the thing that sleazy companies do, where they come out with something and it's god awful terrible and there's a revolt and they're like, no, 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 that's not actually what we meant. It's only going up $10 or $15. And then we're like, oh, whew, okay. I can handle that because all the outrage was at the very beginning. It's like gas prices. They bump it up to $4 a gallon just to say, hey guys, we're going to give y'all some relief and drop it back down to 325. Um, no. I'm that moron who sits and looks at it and goes, I want $2 a gallon again. Like this isn't going to placate me, but I'm also different than most other consumers out there because I think of damn near every purchase extremely critically. Like, and so everything is ran through the lens of, is it okay? Is this going to make sense? Is this too much? Is there somebody else charging cheaper for it? Why are, like, I go through all of that in my head on dang
Isn't
near
that the
every.
standard like practice for like notified consumers or educated it should be, other than like, hey, I'm just gonna throw my money at some bullshit. Like you should do your research or try to see what's better and all this other stuff. I don't know.
Bro, common sense isn't that common anymore, my guy. Like,
I'm a cheap bastard, so I kind of, that's the way I go. But
right. So
I
you're
guess
like, yeah,
that,
that's normal. That makes sense.
yeah, some people are like, oh, shit, I don't even know, man. Let's buy some stuff. Let's do it. Let's spend our money. I don't give a fuck if it's quality,
And then
whatever it is.
let's keep bashing PlayStation. Did you see what games are coming out on PlayStation Essential? Did you see the absolute dog
I
shit
so
dumpster fire?
I I have a story with that. I got a review code for that Saints Row game, and it's one of the worst games I've ever played. So I'm not joking. That shit is an abomination. It's
So
trash.
you raised the prices. You gave us a lack, or you're raising the prices. You gave us a middle of the road August on the extra and premium tier. The essential tier was almost hot garbage. Death's Door kind of
Hmm.
saved it because everybody's saying that game is really good.
It's
Uh,
good.
but like, you gave us a crap month, then you're going ahead and giving us another shitty start to next month. Oh, and you're raising the prices. What? Like, now's not the time to do that. It's just not. Now's the time to be promoting your system, gearing up for the biggest release that your system has seen since it launched in 3 years ago, 2020. Like, you have to be able to look at that and understand that now's not the time to rock the damn boat. Make games, release games, have people buy your games, and keep bringing us fucking awesome indie titles on your service day and date. Keep giving us those strays, the Sea of Stars, the VR game that came out, the one that was like a maze game. Uh, oh, it had the dog, Humanity. Like, give us Humanity. Keep giving us all these day and date titles because we are enjoying them. And your player base is happy. We get to go to the gaming playground, well, did until today. We get to go to the gaming playground and go, yeah, your system sucks, and ours is doing most things right. Yes, they price gouge, but outside of that, we have the games, we have the products, we have the service, we have everything better than you.
It's fun. It's funny how you said that, though. Oh my God.
It's true. But
Hey, they
dude,
bend us over a little bit. It's okay. I mean, everything else is pretty good. You know what
they
I'm
take care of me. Listen, I told in my interview,
saying?
when I knew it was going really good with the interviewer, with the manager, I was like, hey, listen, because he asked me if I would do this. Would you go up into a hot attic? Would you go into a wet, damp crawl space? Blah, blah, blah. And I was like, listen, I'm a good hoe. If you pay me and you pay me well, I got you.
You're like, I'm gonna do anything. Hint, hint,
if
hint.
if you take any of my money or mess with my paycheck, then we have a problem. But like it's what they're doing. They're playing with my money. And that's the one thing that I don't like people doing. I don't like companies, whether I work for you or buy your product, that screw with my money. It's also why I don't like the way Ubisoft went. It's why I don't like the way Blizzard went. It's why I think the entire gaming industry is going to melt the fuck down if they keep trying to chase these stupid games as a service. It's not it's not proper and it's not what's going to work on the 29 to 37-year-old demographic that they have. It'll work on the dipshits that are coming up that can barely wipe their own ass and shave their own face. It's going to work on them. They're going to be bugging mommy and daddy day in and day out for those earbuds because they want to be cool like the other dipshit in their class that has them as well. It's not going to work on us because we don't give a crap about that anymore. Like, I don't care what anybody else has. I don't shit, excuse me. I don't care if you get to play a game that's coming out at 30 frames per second, broken as all shit, looks like hell, can't explore the planets, can't really actually land on planets. You're landing on a tile. It's not even really a planet. Doesn't have it. Can't do it. No big deal. I don't have to worry about playing that because I have the system that's better. And the sucky thing is up until today, I had the company that I felt took care of their consumer better. And I
And
feel like
then you realize that they're all companies and they don't care about us.
they don't give a shit.
They don't give a fuck about us.
Not even a little bit. What's up, Jez? How are you? We
What
are
up,
doing the
Jess?
thing that ponies never do, you know? We are bashing PlayStation. We have been for the past almost hour now. And I don't think we're
No, it's
done yet.
yeah, it's
So,
true. Yeah.
because they also delayed games, right?
Hmm.
They also delayed games. So I don't know when you jump back into the news cycle or not, but they basically there were like 4 or 5 games from major studios within PlayStation that got delayed. And so what? Now we're Xbox? Guys, you're going to get Spider-Man, but just wait on the rest. You're going to get Helldivers. That's not y'all's. Shut up. You're getting Helldivers, but wait on the rest. Like,
What? I was not paying attention to that. So what? Is it more like games as a service games that got delayed, or what are we talking about here?
so the games that were delayed. Oh, hang on. Give me just a second. I can get that up. Oh, dude, we never did your intro. What game have you been playing? Because I know I've talked to you quite a bit on your break, just checking up on you, seeing how you were doing, making sure that you were okay, family and all that was fine.
Hmm.
What games have you been playing?
Overwatch. You were clowning on me for that, but I have a buddy that does content creation, and he was like, "Yeah, you have Overwatch or whatever," and I was like, "Yeah, I played the shit out of it for years until I got bored or they fucked up too many stuff." So I went back and just been enjoying that, and then just some of the free, I say free, some of the stuff that's in PS Plus, kind of dabbled in that. Ascent, played it with you, playing through that again, and actually like progressing because I kind of got hung up on that on Xbox. So I was playing on Game Pass, and if you play it solo, you get wrecked sometimes. But I've been playing all that shit, really. Fortnite.
So, yes, Ascent is freaking awesome, but the level curve in that game is insane if you're by yourself. Um, so here's
Going
the
in for
games.
you went in for a
Look at my beer.
chug. You're chugged. You're like, hold on, let's. What have you been playing? Pot. You mute it, and you're like, "Goo, goo, 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 goo."
Less delay. Listen, I need some alcohol for this bullshit tonight, okay?
You're
It's not
like,
even funny.
let me light that. Let me light that splizzy.
You have asthma. You can't.
Yeah, I can't, but you, shit, I know.
That's right.
Fuck.
Okay, so here we go. Stellar Blade got delayed into late
It's
2024.
not first party, not first party, but yeah.
Exclusive.
Hmm.
Um, hang on, let me. Of course, my stupid dude. I hate when you go to
Del-
articles and they like play an
delays
ad
first. Yeah, yeah.
and then like that
First,
ad jumps you to something else. Anyways, so first party labels since only being published by Sony. Last of Us got delayed. You knew that. Twisted Metal reboot got delayed. Uh, Stellar Blade is delayed. And listen to this bullshit. My gosh, I hate this. According to Sony's latest financial report, several first-party titles intended to launch within the current fiscal year were internally delayed and pushed back beyond March 2024. Sony claims that the impact of changes in the launch dates of a portion of the first-party titles has negatively affected its fiscal year. No shit. Can we, like, come on. You're acting like Xbox. Stop it. You're smarter than that. Hey guys, we know we haven't released shit this year, and we know that another like Forspoken was supposed to be good. It wasn't. Sorry. Um, we had Hogwarts, but that wasn't really ours. It was just kind of had the marketing for it. But like then also we have Spider-Man. With Spider-Man's coming. Spider-Man's coming. What about Stellar Blade? No, it got delayed. Well, y'all just released
so
Twisted Metal. What about the movie or what about the game? No, that got
uh,
delayed too. Like, and then you
I
want to
think
sit and like that's just stupid as shit. Go ahead.
I'm not worried about the delay situation. I think that's part of the part and parcel for the gaming industry, especially the gaming industry is a bunch of pussies. No, I'm just kidding. They talk about crunch and how that's such a fucking bad thing and all this other stuff. So yeah, everything's gonna get delayed. Like nobody's gonna crunch no more. They're gonna form unions and games are gonna come out once every 8 years.
They already
So
do.
we're gonna get what we get, but then this. I mean, let's focus on what they put out this year, right? I didn't play Final Fantasy XVI, but that was a huge title for a lot of people. Um, Baldur's Gate 3, I'm not going to be playing that, but that's big. They have game releases, you know what I'm saying? So it's not like it's been nothing and then Spider-Man because that's what people are trying to make it to be. It's like, recency bias is crazy how you forget everything that happened beginning in the year and everybody wants to focus on what's happening now, but it's like, well, okay, Xbox is finally getting a decent game out, and then they're like, PlayStation hasn't had anything, and it's like, well, what happened with Final Fantasy 16? Oh, we're not going to talk about that. It's like, okay, well, that's part of your release schedule because it's mixed between third party, exclusive deals, timed, first party. That's all part of the service. It's like Netflix or whatever. Do you just sift through like what's their deals that they cut with a movie company? They have them like which one's an actual Netflix? No one cares. It's all content. So if they're getting out content at a good clip, which I still think that they are, then it's not a problem to me. Like if they're delaying some of these other titles, well, how many other titles are coming out that we don't even know about right now, or what titles are coming out in 2024? The rest, it's just I think there's
Look at
been a
you trying
good
to pull me
amount.
back from the ledge. Look at you.
No, you are.
My
You forget
dude,
about
I'm
it.
hot tonight, man. This thing has pissed me off to no. And it's like I now know what it feels like to be an Xbox fan because all the bad news has hit within like a month. The delays got announced, or their fiscal report came out in August. That's when we knew that several games got pushed back beyond March of 2024. Then you have the price hike. Then you have the games that were coming out for PlayStation Plus Extra and Premium that were not. They were okay, but they weren't just amazing. Then you have
Hmm.
the price hikes. Then you have PlayStation Plus Essential looking like dog shit. And like it's just like all of it's happened. And it sucks. It really this is the first time, like I said, as a PlayStation fan, that I'm like, man, this
Yeah, I don't.
sucks.
No, you can't let the media try to sway you in one way or another because like they like to have this pile on effect because it's good for news It's like, well, let's shit on PlayStation for a good amount of months, and well, everything it seems like is coming out negative, but that's not really the case, you know. It's like you got to look back, take a step back, and say, you know, what have they given me? They are fucking up, like we talked about it in the beginning. I'm not trying to give them a pass at all. But they're still doing the most important thing, in my opinion, and that's getting out games, you know? And that's the reason why people are buying the PlayStation 5 at the clip that they are. Now, if they start doing stuff that they are doing, I think it's not going to be good. It's not going to turn out well for them because no matter what kind of lead they have or what kind of fucking whatever they think that they have in their mind, if they push their subservice hard or whatever they're trying to do with these price increases, they focus on games as a service, a lot of which will fail, and they start doing this bullshit. I don't think it's going to end well. You know what I'm saying? Like it doesn't matter how high up you are, you could still fall to the bottom. You see that in companies, you know? So they can't just sit there and be like, "Well, this is the new strategy and we're just going to just give us the games that we fucking like. Keep doing that. Uh, don't put too many resources into games as a service, and then keep doing what you're doing like that. I think the gaming industry in a whole is going to push them, and it's already pushing them in a different direction. I think a lot of people are mad about Jim Ryan. I think he's done a lot of business savvy stuff, but that doesn't really add up to pleasing your consumer base a lot of times because he's going to do whatever makes the company more money. And all these moves that he's making is going to make the company more money. But does that make your fans happy? Does that make people want to leave? You know, I left Xbox for the most part after being loyal to that brand for a while, and it's like everybody has their limits. And if you start doing dumb shit, it's easily people. You know, you see Xbox and where they're at now. It's like if PlayStation starts doing some dumb shit, it's like it doesn't take much for consumer base to say, "Fuck it, I'm out of here." You know, so I just want them to focus on what has got them to this point, which they are, and just do that. And I think everything will be fine after that. But if they like Jez was talking, like if they try to go day and date or any of that shit, like that's not gonna end
I
well.
mean, that's the only thing I can think of them doing. Like saying, hey, all of these, games as a service, they're all now day and date for PlayStation users. Congrats. The problem is I don't give a flying rat's ass about games as a service. So
Yeah,
you're still not treating me well. And granted, I'm not going to forget the Horizon Forbidden West. I'm not going to forget the God of War Ragnarok, the Returnal, the Ratchet and Clank that was a phenomenal game. I'm not going to
hmm
forget those things. I'm not going to forget that they gave us GT7, which I hate racers, but even I have to admit that game looks nine different kinds of phenomenal. And so,
for sure.
like, I understand that they have done this, but man, I see it. I've screamed it from the rooftops. Without competition, Sony will get lazy. It is so down here. Let's take it away from gaming. Down here where I live, Coca-Cola used to reign supreme, and I'm not even kidding.
hmm
Coca-Cola had a pretty well lock on the city I live in, and the state that I live in with the schools around here, the colleges, everything was Coke. Well, Coke started raising their prices because they knew that everybody was only going to be buying from them. Well, all of a sudden, Pepsi sees that, and I'm not even making this up. I got a buddy who owns like 17 gas stations, and he has told me this because his rep from Coke has told him this. Pepsi basically came in and said, "Hey, we'll cut our price in half, or we'll charge you half of what they are, and we'll give you all the machines, we'll give you everything, and on restocks we'll give you 5% off for the first 5 years." Do you know how many companies out here now are Pepsi only? You go in somewhere and ask for a bourbon and Coke, and they're like, "Is Pepsi okay?" You
Yeah.
ask for something like, "Hey, is can I have a Sprite and whiskey?" Because I love that drink. Actually, Sprite and whiskey is delicious.
Fuck
Uh,
whiskey. Bleh.
Well, you know
I hate
what? Not
whiskey,
all of us
dude.
can be basic white bitches that drink clear liquor.
Hey,
That's all I'm saying.
I'm telling you, that's the way to go, dude. I got my vodka, I got my Patron. You right on the money there, dude.
I knew, because if you say
Take
yuck
a
to
seltzer
whiskey,
too. Let's go.
take a seltzer. Hey, I can't say nothing. My wife found these gluten-free Monaco cocktails, and that's what I drank earlier, and I'm cracking the second one right
They
now.
got gluten in fucking cocktails these days, dude. What is
Uh,
gluten?
so alcohol is made a lot of times with yeast or wheat,
Hmm.
and so uh, when you make it gluten free, you're not using any wheat. You're using something else to activate it. And so,
Yeah, but
anyways,
what is gluten? What is
it's
gluten?
basically a byproduct of wheat, from what I understand,
Uh,
and it causes extra bloatedness. Your body doesn't actually process it that well because the gluten that we have now is heavily processed, not like it was back then. And so
mhm.
basically all of that. Anyways, that's not the goddamn point. The gosh darn point is that we sit there, and I got to see this firsthand.
Mhm.
When you have no competition and you raise your prices, the little guy can come in and go, "Hey guys, I got you. Here you go. We'll do this." And so I have been begging Xbox to get their shit together for a long time. And it's never happened or it hasn't happened in 10 years. And every glimpse of hope that I have that they're going to do something well. And now, by the way, guys, we're going to switch pages. We're going to switch now. So whoever came here to hear me bash on PlayStation, that part is pretty much over. Because now we get to talk about Xbox and their bullshit. Because we are equal opportunity shit dealers here. And so, here's what, because no matter what's in the name of my channel or what's in the name of my bio, I am a gamer from a Nintendo era. So, I have been
But you don't have a
PlayStation.
Nintendo right now, though.
I have a Switch. It's sitting right over here on my little TV in the living room.
All right, there you go.
Yeah, no, every PlayStation owner has a Switch. Every Xbox owner has a PlayStation.
Yeah.
And so, anyways, let's get in to their screw ups. So, Salty, I don't know how much you've seen since you've been back. I know you've posted a few things,
For sure.
but essentially, Phil Spencer was right. Another 60 days wouldn't have fixed Redfall. It still doesn't have his 60 FPS patch. So he was right when he said, I don't think another month or two would have fixed it. Well, shit. You're absolutely correct. That game was not getting fixed. So that is a promise that's been negated. Crossplay has been taken out of. Shoot. Oh, crap. It just left me. Anyways, there's a
Hey, well,
crossplay.
real quick. Shout out to Fornitron. He's in the chat. He said
Oh, Fornitron.
he wants to let everybody know how Forspoken sucks. I can't be on that train because I mean the story sucks ass, but the I beat the game and it's not as bad as he makes
Holy
it out to be.
crap. We got X Hawk in here taking a break from Herman's Nuts. How are you, X Hawk? And Fornitron, I will agree with you that Forspoken was not good when it launched. But if you go watch Digital Foundry's video that they did back in June or July,
Mhm.
there was a patch in May that actually fixed everything. And in the words of Digital Foundry, this is the way the game should have been played and released. So no qualms about it. That game is
But
a
they don't get a
25.
pass. They
No,
do not get a
absolutely not.
pass for that
That game
shit.
is a $25 to $30 game that was marketed as a $70 title, and it was incomplete on launch, and it was a dumpster fire on launch. I
Mhm.
have a review of it on my channel. Y'all can go watch it and see where I said on there that it looked like two different dev teams worked on the game because the New York sections looked like PS3 era, and once you open
Yeah.
up,
Yep.
everything looked a lot better. Everything looked good. And so no, no. We're not going to get into that, but yes, the game is meh. Guys, we have 26 folks in here. That is a new record for the channel. Hit that like, subscribe.
New record. You need
Uh,
that. Tun, 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 tun.
dude,
Pop
I
some
do. I need it
fucking
so bad.
champagne.
Uh, but So, okay, hey, let's get into this. How did they show up right when I start talking my bullshit about Xbox? Look at this bullshit. They don't say a
because that's
word
the
the
way it
entire time. They were
goes.
just lurking in the
And they'll,
chat.
hey, trust me, all these dudes that are haters that say, "Oh, they're ponies. They don't. I mean, they shill for PlayStation." They will not ever listen to any of the shit that we just said in the beginning of anything. They don't. They don't listen.
Well, at least Forna said he was lurking. That's good. Okay, so
What'd you call him, Forno?
Forna? I shorten everybody's name.
Hey,
I sh-
Forno sounds like my porno.
Stop it. That's not what I meant. Forna, I
Uh,
am not held responsible for the views and opinions of other people on this panel. I'm just throwing that out there. But that might be your new nickname. Anyways, so
Forno the porno.
so
All right, well,
Redfall is
moving
still a
on.
dumpster fire. I called it when I actually did a video. The second video I've ever done on a piece of gaming news when Starfield's marketing came out to the PC first. Uh, and then it went, or I'm sorry, to the TV first, then to PC. Something
Yeah.
smelled, in the words of Hamlet, something smells rotten in the state of Denmark. Like it smelled bad. I've used this analogy before, but it's my favorite thing. It's the smell. Like things have
It's
to
a
pass the
stink.
smell test, and that didn't. And then we're getting word outlets that normally get games that have always gotten games aren't getting the
Hmm.
games. Eurogamer gets a delivered code for Digital Foundry and then are told nobody else gets to touch this except Digital Foundry. And then that blows up into a big, huge story, and Xbox is like, my bad. Here's your code, Eurogamer. You can have one. You can have one. And now Eurogamer has one. But the embargo doesn't lift until early release or early access. It's horseshit. The game, there's something wrong with it. If this was a PlayStation title, I would tell you something is wrong with it.
So,
There's. Go ahead. I'll let you go ahead, Salty. What's your thoughts on this, man?
for first and foremost, the review process for games in general is fucked. I've been on the other side of doing reviews for games before I figured out it's bullshit, and it literally ruins your experience for the game because you got to get the game out, you got to get the review out so you can get views and stuff. And it's just like all the things that I've heard, it's ridiculous. Like shout out to David Jaffe, he posted something on Twitter about it, and he's like, if you're gonna be whatever, this is not exactly what he said. He's basically like, if you're gonna fucking talk shit about a company in your other reviews, don't expect to get early shit. And I was like, so what you're saying is that the only way you're gonna get access to these games for reviews is if you suck off someone or you dick ride them, and then you're gonna get access to it, or you're gonna get flown out to shit. And that's the problem. It's like there's no credibility with any of that. Like if I get free shit, my opinion about that, or if my opinion will change based off of what's going to happen to me if I tell the truth. Nobody's going to know anything about this game or any game because that's essentially what Jaffe said. He's like, well, you better tote the line or you're not going to get shit or stop complaining about it. It's like, what? So what you're trying to tell me is that you can limit who gets your copies based off of what they've done in the past. If they said stuff you didn't like, you don't give it to them. You give things to people that you like, and everybody gets their review scores. What the real problem is that these games literally can tank based off of their review scores, and the millions, hundreds of millions of dollars are on the line. So imagine that kind of pressure and the power that's swayed into putting money into people's pockets to tell what you want the narrative to be at launch so you don't lose money. Because it's literally uh, tens of millions of dollars could be lost based off of what people are saying. So it's like the review process is fucked on all sides because this is just a microcosm of what is actually happening. It's like it happens on the PlayStation side as well. There's outlets that are always going to give perfect scores to certain games. They're going to overlook, they don't want to piss off the overlords, so they're not going to say what needs to be said, and that's the problem with these reviews. This is really just opening people's eyes to that. It's literally what happens. You can't say what you actually think, and it happens in sports radio where literally if these companies that are ran by the sports teams, they won't say negative things because they want access to the players or this or that. It's the same thing with these reviews. These reviewers get French benefits of getting flown out or getting special access, and they're not going to say shit what really is happening. So how do you trust any of those reviews? You know, how is the process reliable? That's what I want to ask. Ask the chat. Like, what do you guys say about it? Like, when you blatantly hear that people are getting not getting codes, you're not going to you read these reviews because these sites said things that are negative against these companies that make the games. How can you trust what's actually going on? You know?
Well, and that's the downside to this. And we've talked about this before with Metacritic. Like, generally speaking, I used to have a rule with movies. If I looked at the movie and it interested me, but critics said it was shit, I'd go to the movie and I generally would enjoy it. Like, there were a few times that I was like, okay, yeah, that movie was garbage. But like, generally what the movie critics said, it would be the opposite. They would say this movie is a, oh crap, one year like this foreign film, this like Indian film won like movie of the year and something. And I was like, dude, that looks god awful. This is why I don't pay attention to the critics. But when it comes to uh when it comes to video games, I literally, like, ACG is one of the outlets I go to because his reviews have always been 100% straight down the middle, no fluff, no nothing. He's going to tell you how it is, and that's that. And he still gets review codes, and he doesn't rate every game perfectly, but he's going to give the honest opinion, and he didn't get a code for this. And that speaks volumes. What Xhawk just said in the chat. We're going to cover that right now. He said that Xbox is mad at the UK, so they didn't give him a code. That's childish bullshit. Like, Eurogamer is one of the outlets that has credentials. It has so many other things under it. So to take off that branch, that is some baby back bullshit that should not happen just because the CMA sees your deal for what it is and thinks it's anti-consumer. Whether it is or not, I don't give a shit. I made it through one whole stream last time without bringing up this stupid ABK deal, and I was trying to do it again. But, like, that's it's ridiculous, and it's insane, and it makes it look, the optics on it aren't good. So, God of War Ragnarok, they were releasing reviews for that 6 days, almost a full freaking week before launch. Why?
Mm-hmm.
Because the game was fucking done. The game was finished. There were no problems with it. There was no game breaking bugs with it. There was nothing except a game that was ready to be in consumers' hands. I honestly think that Starfield is scrambling, or I'm sorry, that Xbox is scrambling right now to get Starfield finished and 100% done. They're working on the patch. They're working on whatever they need to work on. They're working on figuring out how to make two tiles interlock like Legos because obviously we can't do that in gaming anymore. You can't have just one world that you have to explore. Um, you have to have 1,000 planets where 990
So
of them are shit.
real, real,
Go
real
ahead.
quick. So Jez in the chat's right. You know, Starfield, the gameplay itself being hidden is a big red flag. He's saying that, you know, Bethesda should be screaming from the rooftop. It's a brand new IP. All those things are true because, like with Spider-Man, right? I know it's a second version of that game. Like, how long ago did the deep dive of gameplay? I know that they've had videos and stuff like that. It's just, you wouldn't be this we've seen trends like this before with other games that had issues. They do this shit. Like they release review codes late, or certain entities don't get their copies because they know they're going to lower the score. So it's like if you do that, if you stagger who gets the review copies, because eventually these places will do their own if they don't have access to it. So you're going to get that bad score from that review. Sorry, it's my dog. So you're going to get that score. Come here. Hey. So you're going to get that score, but it's going to be later. So after a lot of people purchase the game under a certain idea of what it is, then they're kind of stuck, right? So that's essentially the idea of staggering out the bad news. So then you get all these other sites that got early access that are going to give half truths, and we've already seen that with a lot of Xbox centric channel. Like Colt Eastwood said, Redfall was fucking amazing because he got flown out there, right? So in turn, it isn't amazing, and the shit you said was a lie, right? But no one brings any of that up. The early reviews and the stuff that came out of Redfall, you thought it was going to be the next big thing. But then we actually get to what is the real story, and it's a piece of dog shit. But none of those people that said all those dumb things, like Colt Eastwood, said sorry or said that they lied to anybody. They just move on with their lives because, number one, they can't piss off the overlords, or they're not going to get flown out to rooftop parties or special events, right? So all the
Tattoos on
bullshit
the
that they,
ass.
I'm sure Xbox was super happy that he lied about Redfall, even though it didn't do anything. It's just part and parcel, you know. It's like do what we want. We'll give you all these benefits, and then we'll move on. So like I've seen this before. The way that they're doing stuff, I'm seeing clips of the people bouncing on water in the first person. I'm getting DMs from behind the scenes
They
of that.
fucking float on water. I think the exact terminology used by Thrash was these fuckers float on water like Jesus. like,
Exactly. I
like,
was gonna
dear
post that on
God.
Porter Rocks. I was like, people wanted to walk on water. It's a fucking miracle over here. Literally.
Oh, but it's so the other thing that really frustrates me, this is supposed to be a beautiful open world with an immersive character build. You can do all this customization. You can go through this. You can explore everything. I have a question. And I got some Xbox players in the chat. Do y'all give a shit about like story, direction, anything like that? Or is it really just about how much pointless time you can spend in a game? Like, everybody, it was one of the three that are in the chat right now, but they basically said that
There's three of them in
Spider-Man
the
2
chat.
will. Yeah, we got Fornitron, we got Warawana, and we got X-Hawk in here right now.
No, Xbox the other two. They're not Xbox people or whatever.
Oh, okay, my bad,
They're
my bad.
soul snobs, but they're not that. Yeah.
They're
Oh
soul
yeah.
snobs. That's fair. so, so X-Hawk was like, Spider-Man 2 is going to come in and then leave just as fast as it
Mhm.
came in. That's what those games. It's not meant to consume your life. We have too much shit to play on our system to devote thousands of hours to one game and exploring every desert planet. That's not what we do. Now, maybe, maybe, hear me out. Maybe we have a game like Horizon Forbidden West that we play for 10, 15 hours, maybe 20, put it down, play something else, come back to it. That's actually what I do with Horizon Forbidden West. I've still yet to beat the main campaign, and it's because the world is gorgeous and I just take my time with it. But I'm
For
playing
sure.
other things. So, Spider Man, the first one, I've beat that bastard 3 times. Miles Morales, I've beat that dude 3 times. And it's not like I have like a rule that I have to beat him 3 times or anything. It's just I freaking love those games and I love the story. Say it with me, X Hawk. Story. It's it's part of a game that is engrossing and gives you connection to the characters more than just 900 desolate planets.
So
So like
I'm gonna side with the devil and say that not every game needs a story. You know what I'm saying?
I
So it's
agree,
for
but if you
sure.
call that bitch an RPG, it better have a story.
Okay, makes sense.
Like
Uh,
you give me a game like The Ascent, I don't know a single fucking thing about that story, and I've damn near beat the game. Like it's I seriously have no idea. Games like that don't need story. Come on, Wara, that's a low shot and you know it. That doesn't
no,
make any
no, but
sense.
so if a game is not going to have a good story, we don't know the story first of all. Reviews haven't come out. I don't know how good the story is or isn't. All I got to say is if your story sucks, then you better have some of the best gameplay out there, you know, because there's games out there that show that is possible to do that. And I know for a
Forspoken.
fact, yeah, I know for a fact that the gameplay is not going to be top notch. I just know it looks clunky, the bullets, the way the guns shoot, it's not going to be top notch gameplay. So it's like if you don't have the best gameplay and you don't have the best story, it's like it's shaping up to be kind of like a I don't know, below average experience or a little bit average. It's like, what does your game do that is like ridiculous? Because we got promised all these things with what was it, Cyberpunk, right? They're like, this is gonna change gaming forever. You know, like we heard all these promises,
Oh,
and
it
they didn't
has.
deliver on. Yeah, they didn't deliver on anything. So it's like I've been hearing all this stuff about Starfield, like being this IP that's been in development for I don't know how many years, but a ridiculous amount of time. And then they it's like your shit better be doing some stuff that is new, because from what I'm seeing, it's a glorified No Man's Sky, you know, with uh, RPG elements or whatever. And it's like if that's the case, well, go play no Man's Sky because they've been out for years and they've gone through the bumps and they have all their shit ducks in a row. Why would I buy a new game if that's going to be the end game? They're like, what is Starfield going to provide me that I can't get in, this other game? Now you're going to say, well, RPG elements and you're going to say all this Bethesda stuff. That's fine, but that shit better be popping in that
Right, but
game
then
or it doesn't.
that's the story. That's the sorry for cutting you off. That's the story. That's the skill trees. That's all this. Like they have focused so much, and this is my point. They focus so much on exploration and on the fact that you can go to these planets, and all that shit has come out with caveats and asterisks attached to it. And so now we're left going, well, what the fuck is the story about? Maybe the story's going to carry it. Because, granted, I have played games. Final Fantasy XVI is a damn good example. I didn't like a lot of the choices they made in that game with regard to the RPG elements, with regard to the skills and how you can only have like six, and like there's a lot of stuff that they did with that game that I didn't quite like. The combat was fire and the story was fantastic. And so like I absolutely agree that games can be brought up to a 8 or brought up to a 9 based off of doing a couple things extremely well. You know, the first time you had me on the Saltiest Gaming podcast, which by the way, guys, for those who didn't hear at the beginning, we have almost 30 people in here now, so most of y'all weren't here. The Saltiest Gaming podcast will be live again tomorrow night. So
Oh, shit.
yeah,
Yep.
man, we are back. So the Final Fantasy game, like there were things that I loved, there were things that I hated, but it was brought up to an 8 based off of that. When I was first on your show, you asked me what kind of my hot take was, and I wasn't trying to be cute. I wasn't trying to be funny. I wasn't trying to make a big splash because I was on your show. I was too nervous the first time I ever got behind a mic to really
Is
say
that how it
anything.
was?
Dude, it was so bad. I was like a
Oh, I'm gonna
chihuahua
shit
shitting out a peach
myself.
seed. It was terrible. And like, so basically, it my hot take was that The Last of Us 2, I hated it. I still gave the game an 8. Why? Because the freaking graphics in that game were absolutely stunning. The gameplay, the mechanics, The melee combat, everything was upgraded and improved from the first one, except, in my opinion, the story. So definitely understand that if you have a game that's lacking in one area, there's
Hmm.
more that can come up or that can bring that game up. But when the things that you've been touting pre-release come to find out they're lied about, or they're misshaped in the truth, or they're not fully telling you everything, and then we also don't know a damn thing about the story, or we know super little, like, that's what I'm saying. That's where the cause for concern comes in, because you're not getting a game where you can explore planets as much as you want. You're getting a game that loads in procedurally generated tiles that, granted, are massive as shit. Going 10 minutes across a tile from your starting point is actually a big, big planet, like, or a big, big section.
Yeah.
But when you load back in, that shit procedurally generates another tile, not connected to the tile you're connected to.
what's wrong with that though? Like, I mean,
It's
is your
not what
brain
they
seeing it
said.
happen?
It's not.
What did they say?
They
So,
said, when asked, can I explore the planets? How much can I explore the planet? They were told
oh,
as much as
all
you
right,
want.
hold on. So now this, I'm not trying to defend this game, but this is an argument we talked about before on our show multiple times. Do you really want a one-to-one scale planet where you're gonna walk across that barren bitch for, I don't know, how long does it take to walk across planet Earth?
A
Like,
long time.
we're getting a little fucking silly here when we look. It's a video game, and it's like a lot of the times when they do these programming things, like they load certain parts of the map. The shit you don't see isn't being loaded, but does that affect my experience? No, I don't know that it's happening. So from that perspective, it's like we're kind of getting nitpicking a little bit too much. It's like it
Right.
comes down
And
to your
so Wara just said
experience.
it, though. It's not about what do you want. It's about lying. If they would have said, and it's based off of the track record, right? One lie from a studio, not bad. One lie from a studio owned by Xbox that's been lying for 10 years, that's bad. And so when you have this, no, I don't want a game where I can explore every planet. As a matter of fact, I think God of War Ragnarok and God of War 2018 have the best world design, hands down, period. Every area
Yeah.
feels massive, and yet every area feels achievably explorable. Does that make sense? Like, it feels like I can actually explore all of this, even though I know I can't. It's still large enough to where it feels that way.
Hmm.
But I was never told I'd get to explore every nook and cranny of the nine realms. My problem isn't even necessarily that it loads in new tiles. I get that. If you're building a massive, massive planet, that's awesome. If I load a tile in, that's cool. Your monster of machines, the thing that eats, or sorry, your thing that eats monsters for breakfast, can't connect two tiles together. Even by a dot section on the screen where you know that's where your boundary is from the last section.
Hmm.
That's what I'm talking about. Like, there were ways they could have done it that would have been way more acceptable than just saying, no, all tiles, they're procedurally generated. There's only a few in planets that we have where they're not. And it is what it is.
Yeah. Yeah. It's just it's Bethesda. It's Todd Howard. He lies about all of his games. You know. That's good old Bethesda. He lied about Fallout 76. He lied about he lies. That's why Phil Spencer likes to hang around him. They get along because it's like the lies are so comes natural, you know. So he lied about the engine for Fallout 76, said a shitload of lies about that pre-launch, and it's the same thing with this game. It's just he's trying to prop this game up to be this. whatever the kind of shit, like Skyrim's their big thing, right? And then they went off of that to other games. But it's like Fallout 4 and Fallout all the whatevers, and it's like they've built up this cult following. And like I said, no matter what happens with this review, I know it's going to be higher than it needs to be or deserves to be, because everybody's going to say, "Well, that's that Bethesda charm," or that's Bethesda games are like that. It's you're going to see that, and there's going to be issues with the game, with again looks, the way it runs, bugs, anything that comes up. It's just going to be brushed off for the Bethesda fans because that's what they do. I mean, hardcore fans of any, I don't know, any company or sports team, or they overlook a lot of the negatives, the flaws and stuff like that. So that's what I expect with this game. I think a lot of the things that we're going to see are just going to be a lot of overlooked stuff, and they're going to just chalk it up to the Bethesda charm, and they're going to move on. And they promised a lot of stuff, and they're not going to deliver on it. And it's No Man's Sky did that before it launched. Whatever that guy's name that runs that dev team, he promised the world for the release of No Man's Sky, and when it came out, it was all lies. And guess what happened? And everybody was pissed. First of all, I don't know if you guys remember that, but it was a big ass lie. It was fucking nothing like they said. So if that's what this game is, and it doesn't deliver on those promises, the people that aren't getting paid for their reviews are going to say, this shit ain't what you promised. So I think we're going to see from the general user base how much they play it, because it's going to sell a lot. It's going to sell a lot on PC because, like I said, they have their base. So I don't think it's going to sell bad, but you're going to see a lot of things post-launch. That's where the blowback's going to come. So when people buy this shit and it's not delivering on what they wanted, that's where you're going to see the upset fans, people talking about refunds or whatever. And we'll see if that happens. I don't know. I don't know. No, it's so secretive that no one really knows. Like what is the real story? That's We'll see when it comes out. But all the stuff that they're like the whole gas giant thing that spread from King Thrash, that shit's comedy to me, first of all, because it's amazing to me how many astrophysicists are or whatever professional fucking astronomers are out there. They don't know what the fuck. First of all, I got a rant on this because
The floor is yours, good sir. The floor is
social
yours.
media is filled with nothing but sheep. Or sheep and parrots. They're like a combination of sheep and parrots. So a parrot goes fucks a sheep. That's what comes out. That's what the majority, 99% of social media is. They follow everything that is said and they parrot that shit. And it gets spread on. No one has original ideas. So someone retweeted Thrash, and then all these big accounts started doing the same thing. You can't land on a gas giant, you fucking idiot. And it's like, how many people actually fucking know that, first of all? We're not fucking scientists, and you guys are waving around like you fucking knew it. But the only reason you found out about it was because of a community note or some other bullshit. So people are all high and mighty on that shit. Like, shut up. Like, you guys don't know what the fuck you're talking about. You don't even know if that's the way the internet works. So they get all these retweets and stuff like that. It's like, that's not the point. He said going to the planet. First of all, he didn't say landing on it. But I just think it's comical that this is the conversation that we have on Twitter
It's a
or social
fucking
media.
game. It's a game. You're telling me in a game that has light speed, warp speed, flying in space, space suits, space guns, and all this other bullshit that you're worried about fucking realism? Like, stop it. Like,
People talking about gas giants like they know anything that's involved there. Like, dude, shut up. God damn. I know you want to get engagement on your Twitter and it's an easy pop because it's like once it landslides on shit, people tweet it out and it gets instant play. It's like all these people that are saying that, you don't even know what you're talking about. You didn't know that this was the thing. You're trying to protect the game because someone critiqued something and he brought up a video Thrash like he does, brought up a video of Todd Howard lying about it. So it's like that's what you're doing. And then they bring the mob. It's crazy to me, man. It's crazy. But
So
that's
what's real funny is I've had Thrash on the show, and I know that motherfather works like a dog. He works
yeah.
all the time. I don't know how he has time to do all this bullshit. I really
No,
don't.
he doesn't. He doesn't have kids. He'll tell you that too. He's
Oh,
married, but he
oh,
doesn't
there you
have
go.
kids. So what it what comes down to, the people that do have kids, like, it's a struggle. Jez will tell you that. If you have kids, it's like, well, where do I slot everything else in? So he doesn't have kids,
But the
but he
research
works
that he
like he
does when he
does.
pulls up shit, and I'm like, dude, what corner of the fucking internet did you find that shit? Like, but
Like, who cares? First of all, it's like someone has the power of community notes on Twitter, and then they took the time to put that in there because they were so offended. Oh my God, someone questioned my game Starfield that's coming out. Fuck them. We're gonna put a community note there. Like, what is this? What was the purpose of that, dude? Like, I don't get it, dude. I don't.
but so remember back to about 40 minutes ago, we spent an hour hammering PlayStation for their bullshit. The problem is that I probably won't hear much from the Xbox camp on Starfield's bugs, how messed up it comes out, if it comes out messed up. I won't hear anything on any of that. I won't hear anything on the lies that were told, on the fact that Game Pass is getting increased, on the fact like we don't hear that shit from them. And I don't okay, I say I don't understand it. No, no, no. That's a catchphrase. No, no, no. I fully understand it. They have been they have been I'll repeat this till I go blue in the face. They have been bruised, bloodied and beaten so much by Xbox and then told I'm so sorry guys, it's a learning process. It's a thing that we're still trying to figure out. We're still trying to get all the kinks out of. Every day we're learning more and they're like, "Okay, great." Like Lord help. How much more can you swallow before you realize that, hey, guess what? We were a shitty company starting 10 years ago, and we're a shitty company now. We didn't care about you then. We don't care about you now. And we have people in the chat talking about Jez being a Sony shill. Bro, Jez goes harder on Sony than anybody I've seen. And that's a fact. Like, you need to watch his live streams more. You must miss the ones or be riding Phil Spencer's jockstrap on the ones where he's going in on Sony and their bad decision making. But it's crazy to me that they don't see it. They look at us and they're like, "Oh, here's these PlayStation guys. They're talking about this bull crap. They're saying this bad stuff." It's because we actually care about gaming, guys. It's because we actually care about when a company says, "Hey, this is what you're supposed to be doing." I look at this through the lens of a PlayStation title. If it comes out and we're supposed to be able to play as Venom in Spider-Man 2. That has been confirmed. If it gets released and they're like, "Yeah, you can play as Venom, but it's like this side game that's not really the actual game." That's horseshit and I will drag them through the mud for it. You know what I mean? Like, Salty, am I off on that? Like, does that make sense?
No, 100%.
And
People
so
pick and
it's
choose what they want to, hear. Not we already said that, So um, I don't know, man. I don't know.
oh, chat's going off, guys. 32 people in here. I truly appreciate it. I think that okay, this is a topic that I want to get into. It's going to kind of shift. So I act like there's not just one in here. Xbox hater or Xbox fanboy, if you're in here, you might want to leave now because we're not talking about Xbox anymore. We're going to go on to the rest of the show. Uh, Modern Warfare 3. I saw an article today where they're going to be using AI chat
Yeah.
monitoring. So you're going to have an AI program monitoring chat. We've talked about AI before, And
Yep.
I want to kind of get your thoughts on this. Do you think this is a good idea, a broken idea, or a bad idea? What you got?
I think it's a bad idea. I think that I don't know. I'm not for that situation. Like, it's a tricky situation with AI in general, but they're doing monitoring stuff anyway, and we saw some of that with like transcripts for Microsoft or whatever that they've been, you know, listening to our parties and whatever. But what it comes down to is like where do you draw the line? You know, like it's like AI is going to collect all this information and monitor everything. It's just like, well, what is deemed, you know, offensive, you know, and then how are we going to punish people online? It's like with COD and lobbies and stuff like that. Anybody that's been in those lobbies know that they're probably the worst. You hear some of the worst shit you've ever heard in your life. If people were in game chat back in the day, which is crazy now because nobody it goes in game chat unless you're on PC. But those lobbies, people, it's like the internet. It's like the voice version of the internet. All these people think they can say or whatever they want, and they say the most craziest shit online. So it's like these companies are trying to get a handle on that because they have kids that are playing these games like Call of Duty. There's a bunch of kids that play it. Doesn't matter like what the rating is on the game. People are still playing it at a young age, so they don't want people being in these lobbies and having these issues. So they're trying to nip that in the bud, which is good to a certain extent, but like where do you draw that line? Because AI has that ability to monitor at all times. You don't have to have a person. It could do it all over the place, and then it's just like that opens that can of worms of, well, where does it end? You know, where does that end? So that's my thought on that, really.
Hmm. I guess my biggest worry is anything that's computer based can be worked around. I used to play cell phone games a lot. And when I was in an alliance or a clan or whatever on those, you couldn't say things because they had a program that would monitor your speech. And so we would use symbols, we would put spaces in between, we would use periods, we would use anything we could to convey what we wanted to say. When you get into I think AI is more intuitive than just those hardline programs. Like you can't say shit. You have to say SH exclamation point and a T. Like you can get around those other systems. So I think it will be more intuitive. My worry is that it doesn't have the element of it's not going to have the element of human nuance, right? Like if you and I are playing Battlefield, and I say that because we've played Battlefield like once, and it's just not a game for me. But if you and I are playing
And you
Battlefield,
raged.
and
Yeah.
I raged, I hate that shit so bad. But if we're playing that, and I say, "Man, Salty, fuck you," and the AI goes, "Oh, he said something bad. He said something derogatory or inflammatory or
Hmm.
offensive," like it takes away the general trash talk that is between even friends on those type of games. You can't say that type of stuff because AI won't let you. And so it takes away part of the aspect. I've talked about before how I've thought about changing the name of this channel, or not of the channel, but of the podcast to the gaming playground, because it's a place where you can come, you can razz each other, you can talk shit, you can puff out your chest, you can celebrate your victories, try to minimize your losses, and it's just fun. It's what we used to do as kids. And so that's why folks like X-Hawk don't really bother me because I mean it's just puffing out his chest. The difference is I got a big ass PlayStation behind me and he has an Xbox, which means he probably has a PC too. But it's it's that mentality that I think is going to get squandered. Now, I also think AI can be beneficial in games like Fortnite and some of the children rooms and things like that, like where they can stop things before they start, like flag certain words. But I think those things still need to be taken back to a human person and a proper authority before it goes further, right? Like, so I get the idea, and the idea is good. But it just doesn't seem like it's there yet. Because as far as I know, AI works by a series of inputs and then it tries to understand what those series of inputs mean, but generally still looks at things and can't put a lot of nuance to them. So I don't know if I'm ready for it in gaming just yet. I think that it's a few years away. I think that if it limits what people can say with their friends and buddies and razzing on each other and stuff like that, then I'm against it. But the problem is the and I don't know. I'm just thinking through this, you know. So like, sorry if this sounds like a ramble, but I'm thinking through this because a lot of the things that I would say to people I hate are the same things I would say jokingly to the people I actually enjoy being around. So
That's
like,
that. That's the problem. That's the
it's
problem, man.
it is the problem. Like, I would tell you to fuck off the same way I would tell X
Yeah.
Hawk to fuck off. And those are two different people. Like, and it means two different things. And so
If
it's
they,
just,
so on the other side, like if they could catch other things that are really bad, like because there's a lot of predatory practices. I have kids. I have two girls and stuff like that. So these predators out there, sexual predators, or any of other like really bad shit. If they could catch on that, I'd be all for that, man. Because like that's pretty. It's something that is an issue online with a lot of like lobbies with GTA or any of these things. People trying to get kids to do stuff that they're not supposed to. Now, if you could do that, fucking do it. But other stuff that's kind of like what you say and stuff like that, that's where it's kind of like weird to me, Like, I think that AI can't really detect nuance, they don't know the history between people, any of that other stuff. But like the stuff that's really bad, I think that that could help that. And I would be on board for that. But other shit, having AI police people, that feels too Terminator for me, like, or not even Terminator, like the Matrix, like you're having the AI police human activity. Eventually, the AI is the puppet or the puppet master, right? You are the puppet. So it's like where's that line drawn? And I don't necessarily want to go down that path. Having
no.
fucking AI bot like fucking run shit. No, I don't want that. Like no, say
Listen,
no.
bro, I get mad when my wife tells me and tries to interpret what she thinks I'm trying to say or what she thinks I meant. Can you
Yeah,
imagine
she's a
me trying to
human.
fight with a fucking machine? Like,
Hmm.
like, no, that's not what I meant. That's not how I meant it, and that's not who I was talking to. You gotta chill.
Was it the Minority Report? That shit was crazy.
That's what
Like
I
how
was thinking of when you said the Matrix. I was like,
they're
bro, that's the Minority Report, like all day
they're
long.
predicting people's bad actions. Wasn't that the basis of that movie? Like it is crazy, like to think about that. But it's like you're generating. There's the conversation of will AI be the enhancement to society or will it be the destruction? Those are the two thought processes. So either AI will enhance human beings and what we learn, the way we function, or they will destroy us. So it's like there's two thoughts there, and I think there's basis on both sides, but I think that you got to kind of walk a fine line the way you're doing it. So that's why I worry about it because it's like I don't know if it's like a lot of these companies are like, well, AI can do this stuff, so why not do it? It's like, well, you got to ask yourself, well, where will this lead if it's unchecked? That's the biggest thing. Elon Musk has talked about that. Like, I'm not a big fan of Eli anymore. Elon Musk, I want to call him Eli. Elon Musk because of Twitter and some of the shit he's done, but what he said about AI is pretty spot on. It's like the regulations just aren't there and like AI development is going at such a like a pace that a lot of the stuff they're not regulating. So like if it gets out of control too fast, it's going to be hard to kind of reverse. But it's whatever.
Yeah,
We'll
that's where
see.
I'm at. It's whatever. Thankfully, I don't play a lot of multiplayer, so it won't really affect me yet. Uh,
What about AI creation of games? Some people are against that. Like, are you against that? Like
so
developing parts of games and shit.
I'm I don't want games developing. are being developed by AI solely. Like
Mm,
that, and that's where I see the logical conclusion running, like going
mm,
to. But, Jez brought up a good point. If you're fighting an enemy and the enemy learns your moves and learns your skill set and then adjusts to you and then you have to adjust to the enemy,
mm.
holy shit, that would be an
That'd be cool.
epic fight.
Yeah.
That would be awesome. But I don't want the AI to write it because I think if you get to those points where the AI is writing it, the AI is coding it, the AI is doing all this stuff, and who the hell knows? Companies might already be using AI to write code and to write all this. I don't know.
Yeah.
At
Mm.
this point, I'm not a game dev, and I could be talking out of my ass. And Insomniac's going to come back and go, why do y'all think we can get shit done so quick? We have AI writing half of our code. Oh, okay. Well, shit,
Yeah.
that makes sense. But like, or how do these other studios that constantly are producing games, how the freaking hell does Capcom get so much shit out so quick? Well, they have AI writing. I don't know. But like in those aspects, I don't necessarily want that. I like the idea of this being crafted and hand done by a human, granted using computers, but by a human who put thought into this. Like I loved when Horizon Forbidden West released or Hogwarts Legacy released, and a lot of the folks who worked on the game were on Twitter talking about, "Hey, what did y'all think of the design on this? I was the one that did that." Like that
Mm.
to me is really awesome, and it shows the level of creativity that we still need from actual people. And so I don't know if you could ever get away from it fully because I always think that humans are going to be able to tap into those nuances way better than a machine would or a computer would. But in the sense of could you implement it in certain aspects? Absolutely. I think, especially for the Souls likes people who like getting their ass kicked by games, those guys would absolutely love this and it would give them an extra layer. Like maybe you could play with AI turned on or AI turned off. So like your first playthrough, you memorize all the mechanics, you memorize all the boss fights, all that, and you get your muscle memory down, and then you play through like a new game plus, and now AI is turned on. And when AI is turned on, everything changes. It's almost like you're playing a brand new game, but with all your stuff and everything from before. So I think you can implement it. I think that'd be really cool. I think Jez was spot on with that in the chat. And guys in the chat, I usually keep up with y'all really good, but tonight has been a massively, massively successful night for the channel, and I can't keep up with all y'all. So that's why I'm not engaging that much. So we're gonna get
It's
into
okay. They hate you now. It's okay.
they hate me now. It's fine.
Yeah. It's all
Um,
right.
Also, I'll be able to see this later, but thanks to the 6 people who've subscribed to the channel, that's awesome tonight. We got 6 people on here tonight who thought this was worth it, so I appreciate that. Next, we're
Let's
gonna get into
go.
Final Fantasy 16 a little bit. Um, I had rose-colored glasses on for the first month of that game, and I'm glad I didn't do a review video on it because it would kind of have cemented, and I would have had to do like an apology video, which I guess would have given me a second video, so it would have been fine. But
Hmm.
like, I think that game is about a 7 out of 10,
Ooh.
and I rated it a lot higher before. Now I'll give it a 7.5. 7 sounds real harsh, but I rated it about a 9 before. And looking back on it, the story was great, the combat was great, but there was so much stuff about the game that just felt off. And now, a month and a half after release, the game has now gone on sale. It is 20% off digitally through the PlayStation Store. And what do you think about that? What do you think that usually means, or what do you think that means for this when games go on sale a month and a half after launch? And Salty, I want your opinion.
I think it's kind of standard practice, but it depends on how much they discount it. From like a bust of a game, they're gonna cut that thing in like half almost. With Ubisoft games, love to do that. You know, they release the game full price. Within like a couple months, it's half off. So it's like it's not doing that situation. I didn't buy the game, but 20% doesn't seem that big of a issue within that amount of time. It matters to what their market is, the saturation point, and then where they need to put things on sale. So if they, I wasn't keeping up with it, but did they say that they meet their sales goals? I know they don't like to do that at Square Enix. They always say they fail, so
Right. Right.
it would depend
So
on that. It would depend on
we
that
don't
number,
know.
Yeah.
We don't know what their projections were. Right now, it's sitting at just under 10% of all PS5 owners own the game or have purchased the game. So, I mean, when you think about it that way, when you just put percentages on it, that actually sounds really good. But when you realize
Because
that that's 4 million,
yeah, it's weird because you don't know what their target is, you know. So if you're, it's like when does anything go on sale? Well, supply. You have too much supply, so you got to put a discount on it to move it to the consumers like myself, maybe that was on the fence. So let's try to hit that audience, and then eventually it will end up in PS Plus. So if you want to wait that long, it will be there. But I don't know what they think their market is because if they've saturated that point, then they move on to let's discount this and let's try to move more stuff before we move to the next phase, which would be a subscription service, which would be PS Plus in probably a year, right? It'd probably go there. So I've heard mixed reviews on it. Like I see people in the chat. I like Final Fantasy VII Remake. People are saying it's slow and stuff, and that's a preference thing, you know. It's they try to combine turn-based stuff with action, and that's what you get with Final Fantasy VII. And that was really my first Final Fantasy game. I'm gonna play this game eventually, but I've heard mixed things from Final Fantasy fans. It's just I feel like it's one of those franchises where you can't talk crap about it because there's all these people that are hardcore Final Fantasy people that will shit on you, Don't you talk about Final Fantasy, So I think
bro,
that
we are
happened.
toxic as fuck in the Final Fantasy department. Like, just understand that we are toxic as hell. Like,
Yeah,
it's
I
bad
think
over here.
so I think that happened for this game, this release. Don't talk bad about this game. It's awesome. And then you kind of step away for a little bit like yourself and you look at it and you think about it and you're like, and it's kind of what happened with me in Halo, because I enjoyed the game, but I took a step back and I was like, man, it's the beer goggles. It's like you see what you want to see in that moment, but then you kind of overlook certain things, or you go back and you think about it, and you're just like, man, that was shitty, or that was this or that. And then you kind of give it its real score. So that's like, ideally, if you're going to do an actual, like, hey, you want to trust this review, which is impossible, you'd let people play the game, beat the game, and sit on it for a while and see if their score is the same. And I guarantee it's different for a lot of people. Once they're able to think about like you get that the beer goggles off and you think about it, a lot of game scores change. And that's what happened to you because you're able to take it's like the hype of the game release, you get the game, you're in it, you got all these dopamine rushes going on, and then you beat it and you take a step back and then you're like, well, that's kind of an issue, or I kind of overlooked that, and this is what's actually the case that's happening. Does that make sense?
Oh no, it fully does. And generally, that's why you posted something today on Twitter that said "masterpiece calling," and you were like, "What game is this?" And
Yeah.
I didn't first think of Final Fantasy. Like my first thought was, "Shit, that's Ghost of Tsushima," because
Yep.
Ghost of Tsushima is a fucking masterpiece. It
Hmm.
is it is done to perfection, which is why I want a second one because I don't care if you could say, "Well, it's just DLC." I don't give a shit. You just give me more of that. I don't care if it's just, well, nothing's changed. I don't care. It's the same story. I don't care. Like, just give me more because it was so great. The thing about Final Fantasy 16 is I hope they change stuff in the next one. Like, I hope there's different things in the next one. And I think that's what separates your good games from your great ones. And so, folks in the chat, some of them are saying, listen, there was one guy who just mentioned that he had come in at the very onset of it and like had never played before, zero experience in this, and he had a great time with the game. And that's fantastic. I'm not saying it's a shitty game. I'm saying that to the level that I grade Final Fantasy titles, it was not that impressive. And so seeing a 20% discount, I think you're right. I think that you can overreact a bit and say, oh my God, it's going on discount. What does this mean? Which was actually the title I gave for the point tonight for the show. But, like, it's not that unheard of. We see so many other companies, EA and Ubisoft to be specific, who will release a game and then 2 weeks to a month later that game is slashed 50% off, an extra 5% off if you're an EA Play member. And so, like, I get it. It's not the world is falling. And
I
Josh in
think
the chat, sorry, I'll let you talk in a sec. Josh in
no,
the
you're good.
chat pointed out that they did hit expectations, but they hit the low end of the expectations. So they were probably expecting 4.5 to 5 million, but 3 million was still good, right?
Yeah, I think they set their expectations ridiculously high for them, and they never meet them. So to say that they're on the low end of their expectations is probably no normal expectations for other publishers. So, but what I would say is, I think that if you take a step back with the gaming industry, it's almost like if you're trying to like be, I don't know, frugal with your money and make the right purchases, then you wouldn't buy games until 6 months after release because all the patches come
For
through,
sure.
discounts and all that other stuff. So it's like FOMO and spoiling games, and it's everybody wants to play it immediately. It's like I looked at that, and I still have. I played Cyberpunk. I got a refund on it, and I'm gonna buy it when it comes out with the DLC because that truly is gonna be, in my mind, what this game should have been. And it's like, how many years later is it? And it's like you look at the state of the game, and it's like No Man's Sky, for example, or all these other games. It's like, hell, if you're on a schedule where you're buying games a couple years after they launch, you're going to get the best version of them at dirt prices, you know. But people aren't going to do that, obviously. With banger games like Spider-Man, they're buying that day one. But it's like with, certain other games, it's like I wanted to play Final Fantasy 16, but I didn't buy it. Why? Because I had some question marks about it, and so I'm gonna experience the game, and I think a lot of people are gonna buy it post. So this discount type shit that's happening is gonna raise the sales as well, and then it's gonna hit PS Plus, and then boom, it's over, and then they move on to the next one, right? I think, uh, what is it? Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, right?
Yeah,
What is it?
January, February, March, one of those months.
So they got on. I mean, that's the next game they look forward to. That's going to sell like hot cakes. They don't. I mean, they don't have anything to worry about.
Yeah, and what's going to be real strange is I can't wait for the narrative when Final Fantasy VII Rebirth sells more in the first week than Final Fantasy 16 did because you can mark it on your calendar that shit's happening.
Oh, big
That
time.
yeah,
It's not
there
even
there will be
comparable.
5 to 10 million people who buy that, and it's because it's that stupid. It like I said, we're toxic as shit in the Final Fantasy camps, and
Hmm.
so when you take out turn based in all forms and fashions, um, you kind of
You
piss
ain't
off
down with
everybody.
it. Yeah,
Yeah,
you're not down with it. Yeah.
nah, you piss off lots of folks in the community. Me, I just like good games, and I love Final Fantasy and the dev team that usually works on them. And so, yeah, I got it. And but I agree. We see that even with games like oh crud, it's on sale this new sales cycle that just came out. Dragon Ball Z Kakarot. They are now selling the Legendary Collection of the game, which is it's like $50, but it comes with the first season pass, the second season pass, and finally the third and final season pass that was just released. And so now, instead of spending $60 on the game when it launched and 20 to 50 or 20 to $40 per season, you could have just waited a couple years and got the game as a complete edition for less than the original game cost by itself. So I think you're definitely right in waiting on games. That's also why I have my little rule that I do that everybody is actually there's a lot of folks in here tonight. So basically guys, my rule that I'm talking about, I only buy 3 full priced $70 games per year. Uh, and I buy them at launch. This year was Hogwarts Legacy, Final Fantasy XVI, and it will be Spider-Man. Um, but outside of that, I buy everything else. Excuse me. Holy shit, it's late. I buy everything else on sale, or I get everything else through my subservice. And so in doing that, it literally opens me up to wait. And I should have waited on Forspoken. I think I bought it when it was $30, and I should have probably waited because that final patch that they did on it, I really wanted to download it again and jump back in. But anyways, I fully agree with you on that. People should wait. They shouldn't have that fear of missing out, which it's a real thing, dude. There was no way in hell I wasn't playing Final Fantasy day one. I wanted that shit in my hands day one, and I had it day one, and so I get that. So, with that being said, guys, let's go ahead and um, get to our last question. It should be a short one, but my last thought of the night, my last question for Salty is Xbox doomed, or is PlayStation going to end up screwing up enough to let them back in the race?
Hmm.
So what
Uh,
you got?
is Xbox doomed? No, because they have unlimited funds in essence. So as long as the parent company wants to fund that process, which with the Activision acquisition and how much they're investing in it, they're not going to just pull the plug on it, lickety split. It's not how it works. So from that perspective, they'll be all right. I've talked about in this podcast that I think subscription services are teetering on the brink of just collapsing, and it's going to take this. I can already see it, like the writing's on the wall for subscription services. So that is their main thing. So if they don't change the way that they do business, i.e., day and date, it's not sustainable. They're never going to turn a profit. They're not going to report true numbers. Their numbers already are stagnating, and they've talked about that on console. This purchase just adds more money to how much it's costing to run this shit. So I just predict the numbers aren't going to change much with the Activision deal. They already talked about it. Phil Spencer already said this shit, you're not going to see stuff in Game Pass for a while. Stuff is still in litigation, all this other stuff. I don't see them reaching what they want to reach. Starfield's not going to move the needle like they want it to. I don't think. I think majority of the sales are going to be on PC. I don't think that the numbers are going to be anywhere where they need to be, and I think they're going to operate at a negative no matter what they tell you because they spin it whatever way that they want. But the way things are, the only company that can destroy or trip up PlayStation is themselves. Xbox is going to have any part of that. They're not going to. Xbox had their time to be able to feel like that they were doing things in the beginning of the pandemic, and they didn't really do anything after that. And we're seeing the landslide of lack of sales, and the Xbox Series S is hurting them, and it's just I don't believe in that product, and I'm not going to believe in it because the leadership is not good, and it's like a sports team having bad GM and a bad coach. It doesn't matter how talented your players are, you're never going to get a championship or win because the top is rotten. It's like the Phoenix Suns for a long time had the worst owner possible. It's like they get this new owner, and guess what? they're one of the contenders for the championship. And it's like with Xbox, their leadership sucks. So I feel like no matter what, they're just kind of set up for failure because you can buy whatever you want, spend all this money. It's not going to change anything. It's not going to change the amount of consoles are sold. Game Pass numbers are not going to go up by that much. So it's a weird answer right now, but I don't. I think they're almost operating separately in different forms. I don't know. They feel like it because it feels like Xbox to get this deal done with Activision. First of all, they talk shit about themselves. Second of all, they're to the point where they're pretty much a third-party developer at this point, a third not developer, third-party publisher. That's their end game. They would love to have Xbox Game Pass on PlayStation. If that happens, I'm not saying it is or isn't going to happen, but that's what they want. Then there's no competition. They're not competing against each other if their shit's on the same thing, and that's what Xbox wants ultimately. They want to be on every TV. I don't see them as what they were before, as competition like that. I don't see people going out in droves and buying a fucking Xbox Series X. I just don't. I just don't think it's like go talk to kids like my kid or anybody. It's just like the Xbox brand isn't what it was. Like kids don't see it like that. There's a lot of people that have purchased it. There's a lot of hardcore fans that think that Starfield's going to be that jump to put them where they need to be, and that's not the case. It's not going to move the needle like that. So the only company that can trip up Sony is Sony. That's it. If they make dumb decisions, they have a bunch of failures with these games as a service, and then they don't hit on one of the games that they're supposed to hit that costs like $200 million to make. That's what we haven't seen really. Like a game flopped to that level because Days Gone, that game actually sold pretty well in the grand scheme of things. It was breaking records. I think it outsold God of War in Japan. So like what game they spent $200 million on that is flopped? Nothing. So if that happens, that you'll see that with Sony because they don't have unlimited funds like Microsoft. So if they make bad decisions from that standpoint, it's going to cause big ripples. So they got it. It's like their line of what they're walking. We haven't seen a failure. At least I can't think of. When's the last time a big game came out that was $200 million for a budget that failed? God of War was good. The Last of Us 2 was good. Ghost of Tsushima was good.
Horizon.
Death Stranding. Horizon still met expectations. You know, it still
It met
sold.
expectations so well they're doing a multiplayer for it. They're in talks for a TV show for it, and they're doing a third game. Like, let's just because it didn't click with me or hasn't still yet, as far as the story goes,
For
does
sure.
it mean that it still hasn't sold a shit ton? And so, like, um, Gorilla is full on head first into this because the game has sold. And so I agree though. I think you hit it on the head. I think the only people that can screw up PlayStation is PlayStation right now. I don't think we have a worry about that. You know, Xhawk in the chat was trying to come at me and say that PlayStation had a bad year. I said it wasn't a bad year, and he was like, "Well, they're only going to release one first party title this year," and I was like, "Yeah, but Xbox is releasing two first party titles that are going to be shit. Which one would you rather have?" And then he,
Brother,
he go,
I don't want to cut you off, but my dog is literally bugging the hell out of me
"No,
to
no, no,
take him
man.
out, and then
We actually got to
so
go
I gotta go.
anyways. So
Yep,
let's go
we
ahead
will.
and do outros. Salty, I haven't got to do this with you. Where can folks find you?
Shit, find me on Twitter for right now. Podcast tomorrow. Saltiest underscore gaming's Twitter. Saltiest gaming on YouTube. Thanks for having me on, man.
Yeah, man. You have a good night, and guys, y'all know where to find me. I'm here every Wednesday, 8:45. Sometimes work gets in the way of that, but you know we all have lives, and I'm also planning on seeing some pop-up streams coming up for Sea of Stars. I'm going to be getting into that. And huge shout out to Salty. If anybody's here tonight and isn't already a part of his channel, go over there, support him. He took a break from gaming. He sounds so good. I can't wait for tomorrow night. Mental health is super important. Health is super important. If something in your life has it to where you're just not finding enjoyment out of it for a long period of time anymore, take a break and come back to it. See if it comes back. See if that fire lights back up. So glad he came back in tonight. And I'm glad everybody showed up in the chat. Hit that like button on the way out. And guys, seriously, I cannot stress this enough. Stay thrifty.